Hey guys, this is ThatGTAFan720 here with a video. Now, as you can see, I'm capturing my desktop right here just to show you my computer. Oh, there's no icon there. Here, let's fix that. Okay. And now this computer is running Windows 10 Pro. And that's my topic of today, is that there's many people that are getting this sort of forced upgrade to the latest version of Windows, because people who are running Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, mostly 7 and 8.1, because the Get Windows 10 app has not been pushed down to people running the vanilla Windows 8. Although if you have a disk, you can still physically upgrade, which is something I didn't know. And I believe that's the same with a RTM Windows 7. Is that you can still upgrade to Windows 10 on the vanilla 7 and 8, but you need to have 8.1 and Service Pack 1 if you want to get the actual app to Windows 10. And the main reason people are getting that app and getting these forced upgrades is because they already have the latest versions of 7 and 8.1, because they have automatic updates with recommended updates turned on. And it's to the point to where if you didn't want Windows 10, all you had to do was say no. When that little thing popped up, you just said, no, I don't want Windows 10. And the thing sat in the tray, and you couldn't exit out of it for some reason. But, unless you went in Task Manager or something, or disabled it. I'm assuming because I've never actually on any of my machines gotten the upgrade to Windows 10, because before I had this computer came with Windows 10. Granted, it was a home edition, but it came with Windows 10. And before, I was running a computer that was still running Windows XP. So I never had any issues with this Get Windows 10 thing, because I literally, on my machines, was using XP and Vista and then jumped straight to 10. And now throughout the time of owning Windows 10, I've also experimented on those machines with spare hard drives for both 7, 8, and 8.1, just to see if I like them after I got used to Windows 10, because my original mentality with Windows was seeing the direction that Microsoft was going. I did not like it. I said, you know what? I am sticking with Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7 until the end of time. If they stop supporting them, then hopefully Windows 9 at the time is good, and I won't have to deal with that crap anymore, and they'll get rid of all this Metro BS. And I still call it Metro because modern just sounds stupid. But the way that this works is essentially, and I'm actually recently watched a video by Barnacles Nerdgasm. He is an amazing guy. Go subscribe to his channel if you're not, because he has really good tech related videos, and he makes really good quality content, and he has an amazing setup. I don't know if you can see it from the video, but his setup is awesome. And what he says in I'm not gonna play it, because obviously I don't want to mooch off his video, because that wouldn't be good. But essentially what he said in his video is he described the way that Microsoft is forcing Windows 10 onto people is they want to push their numbers. They want to say, and I know this because one time I installed Windows 7 in a virtual machine, I opened up Internet Explorer, and the first thing I got was a pop-up saying, 200 million people are using and loving Windows 10. The problem I have with that is just the fact they're saying people are loving, quote-unquote, loving Windows 10. Because how would they know if they're actually loving Windows 10? Unless, of course, they have the telemetry. But then again, they could also just say that, oh, well, they didn't revert back to their previous operating system, probably because they didn't know how to, or they didn't care, or they just said, screw it, I'm not using my computer anymore because this thing is a piece of crap. And, they just said, oh, well, they probably like it because they didn't go back. And they're probably ignoring all the constant errors and complaints they probably got from people, which I've seen plenty of them. If you go on YouTube right now, there are like more I guess you could say because YouTube keeps getting bigger and bigger, but there's more hate videos for Windows 10 now that there are for 8 and Vista combined. Of course, Vista, there wasn't too many hate videos because of the fact that when Vista came out, it was early 2007. Not as many people were using YouTube. And most people who, let's be honest, Vista didn't have too many problems. That was with Vista itself. Most of it was just, oh, this printer isn't working on Vista, and I work at a store, and I keep getting complaints because this printer isn't working on Vista. I mean, that's not Vista's fault. It just means that, hey, I can't use Vista right now. So, then of course it eats up resources, but we've gotten over that since then. It's kind of weird how Microsoft has this mentality back 10 years ago that we want this experience with all these visual effects and all this cool stuff. And they were right on that. And the truth is, even back in 2007, if you had a powerful machine, Vista ran beautifully. And same thing with Windows 7. And ever since Vista came out, like, people think that, oh, Vista was bloated back then. But Windows 10 has the exact same requirements as Windows Vista. Of course, that could be because they're all based on the same kernel, which is NT6.x. And that goes from Vista, 7, 8, 8.1, and 10. But the way that people don't complain about that anymore, because you can't, I can't feel bad for Microsoft in this sense. It's like, they can't win either way. Because back when Vista came out, people were like, oh, it's a resource hog, and it looks stupid. And, because I like this. XP was fine. All these icons are slowing down my computer and making it run like crap. And I have a crap PC with 512 megs of RAM and a freaking Pentium 4, and I can't enable Arrow. Gosh darn it. The world's going to explode if I can't enable Arrow. Yet they were saying they didn't care about the effects, yet they still wanted set effects. It's like, just change it to basic or just turn off the transparent. No, I shouldn't have to do that. I'm going back to XP. But whatever. And then Windows 7 came out, and then people were like, oh, it's a saving grace. Windows 7's amazing. Except it's the exact same as Vista. People were like, we hate UAC. But Windows 7 had UAC. And it's just as bad, quote unquote, as Vista Service Pack 1 was. And people didn't complain for some reason. Arrow still swallowed up the same amount of resources. People didn't complain. They took away features in Windows 7. They took away Dream Scene. They took away some of the games, but that usually happens anyway. They took away some of the different elements in Vista. And people didn't complain for some reason. Why? Like, that was a legitimate reason to complain. It's like, hey, didn't Vista have Dream Scene? Why don't we have that? I mean, with how bad Dream Scene was a controversy on Vista, you'd think they'd make it a regular part of pretty much every version of Windows 7 except the basic and starter versions. And you'd think they would have fixed how many versions there were. All they did with Windows 7 is they kept the same versions as Vista, only they changed business back to professional, like it was in XP in 2000, to where it's now professional again instead of business. When business actually makes sense in the naming scheme, because it's home, and then it's enterprise, but then it's professional. It's like, don't the name's supposed to signify like what version, that like environment that's designed to be with? So business makes sense, but no, it's professional. And I don't get it. And then, Windows 8 comes out. Everyone hates it. Everyone. Because they're like, oh, it looks like a tablet. But it's lightweight now. It's lightweight. It doesn't have the fancy effects. Because it doesn't need it. Because you said you didn't want it back in Vista. You didn't complain about it being in 7. But we listened to you and we fixed it. Because at the same time, we're making it lighter for our computers. And we're making it nice and optimized for tablets. At least in terms of the UI. And people complained. Why? I mean, if you don't like it and you like the fancy visual effects, that's just your opinion. That doesn't define the OS. And you could add that stuff back, granted with third-party software. But you could also add it to XP with third-party software. So it's the same thing. And, of course, people hated the Metro. People hated Metro in Windows 8, which I did too, initially. I got used to it. I like it. Because if I'm in a thing where I just want to consume content, I'll open up that full screen version of Internet Explorer or Chrome or whatever and use it like that because it's full screen. I'm using one thing, so I don't care if it's full screen. And then if I want to be productive, close out of that crap and go to the desktop. Simple as that. I mean, you have pinning to the taskbar, you have icons, and people are like, oh no, but I can't find anything. It's like you just pinned stuff to the start menu in Windows 8 the same way you did in Windows 7. It's like, oh, it's big buttons. You can make them smaller. In Windows 8, you couldn't. But in Windows 8.1, you can. You can make them like tiny little icons. Kind of like here in Windows 10, I have all these icons on my start menu small. I have them all small. And, I mean, yeah, there's still some missing features. There's no option for arrow. There's no option for Windows Classic. Not as many people complained about that I think they would. It's like, where's my Windows Classic mode? It's not there in Windows 8 or 10. Of course, now the entire interface looks like Windows Classic. That's why, because it's all flat colors. It's all dull and boring. You know? That's why they got rid of Windows Classic, because they felt they didn't need it. It's just, everything's just less gray. Everything's more colorful, but it's still flat. And that's all. And the reason I'm rambling about this so long is because that's why a lot of people don't like Windows 10. For the same reason I don't like Windows 8, because Microsoft, like, their betas had Arrow for Windows 10. They had at least certain elements of Arrow Glass. And they axed it all. I mean, if you remember, the early builds of Windows 10 looked exactly like Windows 8. Just no borders around the windows. Granted, a lot of betas, when they start out, they look like the previous OS. But it was all the way up until, like, right before Windows 10 was released. It wasn't until, like, 2 months before Windows 10 was released that we have the current look of Windows 10. I mean, unless you knew all the leaked builds in between. And they eventually just made this new thing. And it's crazy because this is flat. There's no color by default. There was a while where you didn't even have the option for color. Of course, if we go into personalize now, and I have this set this dark theme, you know, there's another reason why people don't like it. It's like you have settings, but then, you know, where's the option to put the control panel in this PC on the desktop? Well, there's no, like, shortcut to it here, so you have to go to the control panel, and then you have to go somewhere in here and find it. You know, there's still a bad sense. Windows 10 still has a sense of not having proper continuity. This is what they've had issues with ever since Windows 8. Is that it's nice mending the desktop and Metro. I'm still going to keep calling it Metro. I don't care if it's called Modern UI. I'm going to call it Metro, okay? And mending these different interfaces together, they've done a very good job with it in Windows 10. And it's nice. It looks good. The way they've done it is great. But people still don't like it. And people, and you know, people are like, well, I could just install Classic Shell and get the Windows 7 start menu, but I shouldn't have to do that. Although, in my opinion, if you're going to stay on an OS for that and risk losing support, I don't know why. I mean, I used to be like that, so I can understand where they're coming from. That's why I stuck on XP for so long. That, and because I was too lazy to upgrade to anything else. And because, you know, if the only thing I would have upgraded to was Vista, because I didn't want to do a clean install at the time. So I was stuck with getting Vista, which I was about to do, but it didn't have very much better support than XP in terms of third-party stuff. And it would run like crap on my computer, because back then I was using a 1GB netbook, which I've since downgraded to nothing. I've actually downgraded to 512 megs, and it's actually running Windows 8.1 right now. If you saw my my latest video, which I think is which I'm probably gonna post this first, so you're probably not gonna see it yet. But I know I'm going on for so long, but the fact is that the way this works is people still don't like this interface, and people don't like change. So Microsoft is cramming this down people's throats. They sent down the Get Windows 10 app. It's very intrusive. I once saw a newscast where they were like giving like the weather information, and it popped up the thing asking to upgrade to Windows 10. Imagine if that had actually upgraded Like, you were, like, just think about it from a business environment, because, like, the company that my father works for, they're not running enterprise editions of Windows 7. They're running the Pro edition. Now, the school that I used to go to, I mean, they currently have them, is that they're running the enterprise edition of 7 and 8.1. So they don't have to worry about that. So they can completely control when updates get pushed down. And this summer, they are actually, meaning like right now, they are actually rolling out Windows 10 on all their systems. So they are upgrading. Right? I mean, they never upgrade. They always refresh the computer every year, and wipe and reload every single year, because they have a poor excuse for security software, and they just want to make sure there's nothing left behind in terms of viruses and stuff. And they always upgrade Office and Adobe stuff, so whatever. But the point is that, on our main, because I currently have my laptop plugged into the monitor in my office, and my desktop computer is Windows 7 Home Premium. It's not mine, but it's my friend's or whatever. I was in the middle of working on it. I mean, not working. I was just doing stuff on Chrome, but YouTube, if you're wondering. But it shut off, and it upgraded to Windows 10. Now, my friend didn't want Windows 10. I actually set it to where it did not upgrade. It originally pulled up saying, your upgrade is scheduled, which I did not approve of. I did not approve of that schedule. Microsoft, I did not approve of that. And the biggest reason, now, Chris Pirillo, which if you don't know Chris Pirillo, he's like the biggest technology, or not the biggest, but he's one of the biggest, like technology blogger and vlogger. And he brought up the fact in why Microsoft shouldn't roll out this upgrade is trust. Is that people aren't going to trust Microsoft. Granted, people never have trusted Microsoft ever since Windows Millennium, in all honesty, if not at least Vista, where thousands of people stuck with XP and the other ones bought Macs. God, people hated Vista. I still don't understand why. Well, I mean, I know why, but like, it's stupid reasoning. But anyways, back on topic, is that people freak out at change. People don't know how to use computers. I got a call from my friend's great grandma, and she had Windows 8.1 on her computer, and it auto upgraded to Windows 10. Now, I'm actually glad that particular computer did it, because I got remote access to her machine, and I was able to help her roll it back. And the moment I talked my friend in how to roll it back to Windows 8.1, it immediately, he said it pulled a pop-up immediately that said, we're upgrading to Windows 10, after he just got done reverting back to Windows 8. That's how desperate they are. The moment you roll back, at the very least, once it upgrades and you roll back, that should tell Microsoft, okay, they tried it. They've at least tried it. They have tried Windows 10. They've used it, and they don't want it. They want to go back to 8.1. So fine. That's fine. We'll just, remove the Windows 10 app from their computer, or we'll just leave it there and we'll not make it intrusive. And then the moment they want to upgrade again, they'll just click the little box and upgrade. Nope. Screw you. You're getting Windows 10. How dare you not take our latest OS that's essentially still in beta? How dare you take our new OS that has bad hardware support and program support, and essentially is launching the same way Vista was 10 years ago? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? We are Microsoft. We're watching you sleep. We're watching you take a shower. We're watching you with Windows 10. But granted, we were also with Windows 8, and we were just a little bit more hush-hush about it. This time we're more open, and people think we're associated with the freaking NSA. But hey, we are, so who cares? Bomber's gone. So you got that. Bomber's gone. You like that? You like that. You like that. You get Windows 10. You don't want Windows 10? Screw you. You're getting it. Even if you have a legitimate reason because a program isn't working, talk to the developer. Talk to the developer. Buy something else. Oh, you're having problems running Adobe Premiere?